Good morning, afternoon, or evening, whatever it is for you. I'm Cycle, and this is Let's Play Train Simulator. You'll notice I've not shown a scenario selected. That's because the scenario I'm doing is down here. It's called the Splitter. We're going to do the Splitter today. And you may have noticed I've been staying with all the ES44 AC scenarios so far. I have Arriving East, I have Barstow Backlog, Relief Freight, Slow Climb South, the Splitter, and of course Throw and Reversal down here as well. I'm going to save these SD40 scenarios, the Short Sharp Shunt, Cajon Pass, the eponymous name, Full Up, Be Prepared, and a couple others I believe are in here. I'm going to save those, actually, Authority Matter is the other one, those 5. I'm going to save those for a future trip here to Cajon Pass because I want to introduce the SD40 on another route. And I'm going to give you a little announcement right now. That is what we're doing after we do London to Brighton, but I'll tell you a little bit more about that as we get going here. I don't remember if I mentioned it during this scenario or if I mentioned it in the past, or if I mention it while I'm back in London to Brighton. But we are going back to London to Brighton after this to finish those last 4 scenarios. I've already played them. They're interesting scenarios. You're going to enjoy them. Make sure you come and watch those when I publish them. But we're going to be coming back sometime later on to get these SD40 scenarios out of the way. And when we do that, I will have already introduced the SD40 on another route. I have that route already planned. I'm not going to spoil it right now, but I have that route already planned. So make sure you stay tuned to see where I introduce the SD40. We have models of the SD40 on various routes. I think New York, New Haven is one of them. I know that I think the N line actually has one too. The GP38 is definitely there. The SD40 is on the the N line that comes with Train Simulator 2020. Cajon Pass has a basic model. We have Soldier Summit, I believe, has a SD40T, the tunnel motor variant. And there are many others as well. It may be one of those. It may be something completely different. I'm not going to spoil it yet. But one of those routes we are going to be coming to, and we're going to be introducing one of the routes, one of those or one of the other ones that I have. We're going to be coming to, we're going to be introducing the SD40. By the way, Sherman Hill includes an SD40 as well, but you remember none of the scenarios actually use the SD40, so we didn't actually get to show it off on Sherman Hill. So we're going to be looking at that in future scenario packs on Sherman Hill. We will see the SD40 on Sherman Hill sooner or later, so that will be coming in Union Pacific livery like the others. So stay tuned for that. It's actually just like the one here. If we look at the one here, that's a black livery, but there is a There is an EMD model. These are black ones. Yeah, that's something a little closer to this is what you're going to see on Sherman Hill. Just probably in a more weathered format and not black. You're going to see the regular Union Pacific livery, the dirty Union Pacific livery that the others have. In any case, we're doing the Splitter today. I'm going to stop blabbing. Let's get into the scenario because this is already going to be about a 2-hour scenario, and this one is closer to the 2-hour limit by the time you're done. So let's get in there. Let's take a look around. Today is a long shift and you have a complex work order. Firstly, you need to finish loading up your train for the drop-off at Victorville, after which you'll be given further instructions. That's a lot of instructions. We have to do 12 general freight pickups here, so let's go to the back of our, well, not really the back of our train. Let's just go somewhere up here. Now, while I'm doing this, just a disclaimer I should point out. This is the 3rd time I'm now playing this scenario, and the reason it's now the 3rd time playing this scenario is very simply because the game is stupid. Let me find a good lineup spot here. This will do for me. So what literally happened was last time we ran this scenario, I was just driving along. All of a sudden my train uncoupled. I went back to pick it up, and then the train got rammed into me and I derailed. I have no idea what happened. I'm told this is a common problem. I have video. I don't know what else to say. Anyway, let's go ahead and load the train here. Now, as you can see, the crane is going to do its thing here. The idea is just get it stuck in there every time. So I'm going to take the brakes off. I'm going to put the reverser forward. Let's go ahead and move these cars up one at a time. And the way you do this is you simply move the train forward just slightly each time. I'm not going to show you right now, but I am actually located in the... the switches are all okay up ahead, so I know the switches are all set for me. Typically you would set that, but because we're doing a loading job here, they've already done the job of setting the switches for us, which is very nice. I think I went a little far up on that one, but they'll still load fine. I have to wait for the train to stop. Now I can go ahead, and I get a green one this time. And it centers in place. And forward again. And we got 11 of these to do. Or was it 12? Might actually be 12. Well, yeah, 9 more. So yeah, there you go. On the F1 list, it just shows times 11. So the one on the F9 updates, apparently. The one on the task list does not. There we go. So I'm going to load her again. We got a slightly off-putting color of green this time. And those are the 3 colors that you're going to see. The brown, the green, and the somewhat snotty green. So we load these one at a time. And that's really all we do at this part of the scenario. Then we drive. And I'm going a little fast, so I'm going to hit the brakes right away here. Okay, fine, that'll do. So we're going to load car number 4. I'm completely confused as to how that happened before, and I'm probably not going to understand, but hopefully it was just a freak situation. Hopefully it doesn't happen again, because it's the first time it ever happened, and I'm sure it will happen again. Not on this route maybe, but on a different one. And I went a little far forward on that one, but the car will line itself up. For some reason, it's good at doing that. Yep, lined up. Actually, I wasn't far forward at all. I was still in a good spot, apparently. So, what do I know? You can actually see on the HUD the loading point as well. The loading point is that little turnaround thing. One time I came along, I thought it was a turnaround track, but it actually is a loading point, which is why you see that icon there. So now you know. And I went a little far past that one, so I'm going to be proper and just back her up slightly. So if you overshoot, you can back up just a little bit. That is fine as well. There's no penalty by doing that. It's actually probably more proper to be doing that. So I'm going to stop now. That should be good enough. That'll do. And there we go. Once the train stops, I'll go ahead and I'll put the next car on. You can see on the HUD that this is about car number 7, I believe, right now. Let's see. Yeah, this is 5 more, so this is car number 7. So when that little... I was actually a little far back. So when the turnaround thing on the HUD, the loading icon on the HUD gets behind the car, that's when you want to stop. So if you don't have a mark on the mini-map, you can use the HUD for this purpose. And it'll tell you where you need to stop. So looking at the HUD right now, for example, there is the spot right there. Come to a stop. Might be slightly far forward, but it'll do. I was off a little bit, but again, it lines it up, so it's fine. And I hit the button while to move forward while the wait icon was still there. Because the car was already on, I don't get penalized. So if you want to be safe, wait until the icon or the wait bar disappears and then move forward. If you want to be absolutely certain that you're not going to get penalized. I didn't go far enough forward on this one, so I'm going to bump it up just a tiny bit. And that'll do. Oh no, I wasn't forward enough at all. What do I know? Two more. So I will go ahead and do that load. And then one more after that, and we're done. And as the last car pulls up, you're going to see an engine come up. The engine is at the back of the train, is the last thing on the train. So I'm going to hide this for a moment. And I'm just going to show you the engine coming in. And also going to try and do this last one by memory. So there's the engine, you can see it right there. So we're gonna have a little pushing power from behind here too, it looks like. That's an SD40, by the way. So back to the front, I'm gonna pick up the F4 HUD for a second. I'm just gonna show you, as we're all loaded up, let's head to Victorville. Once the last car is clear, open up the throttle. Will do. Let's just take a quick look at the back train. This is your SD40. We're not driving this right now, but this is the SD40. We'll see this at a later time. So for right now, back to the Cajon 1 drive-in. And back to the mini HUD. Something about that F4 HUD as well, you actually get a bigger display there, so it's better for your eyesight, but you have a lot more space taken up on the bottom. I like the mini view because you can see more of what's below on the screen. Now because of what happened last time, I am going to go ahead and drop a save here, just so I don't have to do that whole loading thing again. That way all I have to do is do the drive. So I now have a save just in case I need to. I might do one more save when I get to the summit. So we're going to get to a 30 before we actually crank into the 55, and I'm actually going to stay at a lower speed for now, only because I know we're going to have a junction where we later meet the, where we have to merge back into the other track. I actually might just use the mini-map and do a quick glance at the mini-map to see where that third track is, because I can slow down for the third track there as well. I'm going to treat all junctions like they're a 30, because a lot of the DLC here, especially the US DLC, but sometimes even smaller speeds on the British DLC, like London to Brighton has one for 20, another for 15, I think. So I'm going to treat all junctions like they're a 30, and that way I'm being very safe in terms of the of what I'm doing. This, I believe, is West 5th Street right here. Either that or the one behind us was West 5th Street. I'm not sure. Well, no, that was West 5th Street back there. This is West 9th Street at this point. West 9th Street. And because I have to redo this run, I have to line up my map again. I was all the way up at Hesperia when I cracked, which is unfortunate. Throttle off for a moment. I should be in the 30 in a moment. I'll throttle back up now. There's the 30. So I believe the street coming up is West Baseline Street. We are alongside Interstate 215 at this point. Now what the 215 is, for those who are not from America, and I'm not either, but I actually have an idea of this. The main interstates are, of course, the 1 or 2 number ones, like Interstate 8, Interstate 10, Interstate 15, Interstate 30, Interstate 80. Those are the main interstates. But off of the main interstates, you may find another highway spur that is a major area, but the highway already exists in a different area. So what they do is they create another spur. They can't call it part of Highway 80 or Highway 30, whatever the case may be. So what they do is they have this spur that goes through San Bernardino. If you look at the regular Highway 15, Interstate 15, Interstate 15 actually, we're going to be merging in Interstate 15 north of the city. And Interstate 15 heads towards Los Angeles. In fact, it goes through Corona and then continues south of there. Los Angeles is Interstate 5. So Interstate 15 goes through Corona and continues down to Temecula, and eventually it terminates around the San Diego area. Interstate 15 terminates around San Diego. So what basically happens is there's these little spurs that are made, and they are a third digit added. So you might have a 115, you might have a 215, you might have a 315, you might have a 415, you might have a 515. That's usually about as high as you go, 5 numbers, 5 spurs. So this spur goes through San Bernardino, and eventually this spur, the 215, turns at Riverside and goes to southwest or southeast of Riverside. That one continues down to the Murrieta area, eventually meets Interstate 15 before Temecula, and then the 215 no longer exists. You're back on Interstate 15. So it's basically a spur of the highway off of the original highway that takes you to another major area, basically. Best way to put it. So as we're taking the turn here, I'm going to get my map line back up here again, obviously. So I believe we're now coming to North Mount Vernon Avenue, if I'm not mistaken. Let me check the overhead view here. It looks about the right alignment, so I think that's correct. North Mount Vernon Avenue. Well, let's see what train that was. 12. And there's the interstate, or not the interstate, there's the, not even the 215. There's the 210 exchange with Interstate 215 that is going over our train here. So that's what this is coming up. That's what it is. And Interstate 15 is, of course, right over there. And there's the exit. Now, English, how far do these tracks go? We're going to find out in a little while here. We have to go quite a distance on this third track, and then we're going to merge back into the second track. So we still have quite a ways to go. This road coming up right now, I believe, is North Slate Street. And after that, we're going to be passing under Palm Avenue. We found a Denny's on our way south. Let's see if we can find the other ones on the way north. I want to do some exploration up here, so let's do some exploration. I think the Denny's was over here. Am I right? Well, maybe not. No, it's not the right area. A little more trivia, the 215 in this area is known as the Barstow Freeway. So we're in a bit of a more blah part of the landscape right now. You see neighborhoods off there to the side. Somewhere along here the Glen Helen Raceway is found, but right now we're in the major neighborhood area of Muscoy. San Anselmo, Muscoy, Cimarron. Those are the neighborhoods that we're going to be going through on the left of us right now, so that's all the areas to the left. Those will eventually end, and we're going to have the Union Pacific stuff will be showing up at some point to meet us after those all end. That's actually where we cross Palm Avenue. So Palm Avenue is going to be coming up, and then we'll get another chance to find nothing, because there's not really anything at Palm Avenue. Vermont is to the north of Palm Avenue, but that's about all we're going to find there. University Heights, and then the road continues into the Cajon Pass area for driving purposes. We're going to keep going on our path for train purposes. We're not getting a lot of speed on this uphill, so I'm going to go ahead and bump the speed just a little bit because I know we're going to have a 45 limit coming up later. There's also a mystery 40 that shows up. And it actually shows up before the interstate, before we meet the 15. So we have to be wary about the interstate coming up. Because that's where we're going to have the speed just suddenly drop mysteriously to 40. Now for that reason, what I'm going to do is I'm going to, when I get to the 45, I'm going to treat it like a 40. Because it's not far into the 45 that the 40 goes into effect. We're on our 2.0 gradient. I'm not going to fight this too much because I know the speed is going to be going down. We still have all these neighborhoods to our side here. And there's a nice big parking lot there. I'm not sure what that big parking lot on the right was, but there's something there. Main Route 66 will eventually be crossing us before we get to the highway as well. Grading has dropped to 1.9. Let's go ahead and put a little more speed on. We're going to pass our Oro track 1 marker very shortly. Here's where I'm going to take the speed down because I want to treat this more like a 30. So I'm going to go ahead and hit the brakes. I should have done this a little sooner. But of course I had no way to know the track was coming. So I'm going to treat it as a 35 right now because I'm already there. can see Route 66 over to the left as well. And our last cars are over, so let's get back up to speed. We know there will be a 30 speed limit later, so we are going to have to slow it down later anyway. Couple crossover tracks, they don't affect us. Looking at our alignment once again, we're still going in the same general alignment we were before. If you want to challenge about it, try getting dummies out of the bag without making too much noise for the camera. That is train 17. So we have an almost maxed out throttle and we're barely gaining speed. So that tells you how difficult this trek is. We're coming up, by the way, on the 66 crossing over. At least I thought we were. Maybe we was already crossed. Did I miss it? No, I think that's it coming up. Gotta be, because we got the curve for coming up. So I missed the 66 veering off to the left, but we're going to turn our own trip left. And there's 66 coming back across now. That's going to go ahead and go under us. And there it is. So 66 is going to meet up with Kendall Drive over to the right, and then that's going to then become Cajon Boulevard, and that's going to continue on past the FedEx Freight as we continue on to Interstate 15. We're under a 45 now, and I actually did not even notice that in time. But let's go ahead and drop down to 40 because I know we're going to have a 40 coming up. I was suddenly gaining speed there and I didn't realize it. 2.3 is our gradient right now, by the way. I have not seen that number yet, so that's interesting. So as you see, the third track has a yellow signal, but the two on the right have a green. And there is a Union Pacific stub over on the left. I'm watching for a 40 sign on the track ahead here because I would expect there to be a sign saying 40 somewhere in this area, but I don't remember seeing it before. And as I look right now, I know the speed is going to drop to 40. Ah. So that sign was probably a mistake. You saw that sign, it said passenger 50, freight 45. But if you notice, our speed has dropped to 40. So that appears to be an error on the route. If that, I don't know if that's supposed to be a 45 or a 40, But I'm going to be honest with you, I don't expect DPG to fix it now. They're not going to care to fix it now. That should be a 45 on the route. So that's a mistake on the route. Because the route is designed with a 40, I have to drive it at a 40, but it should be a 45. As you can see, there's another 45 sign up ahead. So this whole area was supposed to be at a 45. But we have that mystery 40 coming up onto the highway. So because the sign said the wrong speed, we have to go ahead and drop. Because we're being given the wrong speed, rather. So I'll zoom in for your benefit here. That's a green signal up ahead, so we're still able to proceed at line speed. The track on the far left is now merging with our track. As you see, there's the speed, the sign limit, the same speed limits as before, but they're new speed limits now. So yeah, that's hilarious. Anyway, I can start speeding up now because we're going to get up to 40 by the time the 45 passes us. Now that I'm at full throttle, I'm going to watch my speed coming up here. I'm going to only add a couple kilometers, and I'm going to ease the throttle off. Or a couple miles, sorry. And then I'll ease the throttle off, like I said. I'll start easing it off now so I'm not gaining too much speed, and it is time to go through the train. So I've eased back now to 50% throttle. I am 2 miles per hour under the speed limit. Based on the 45 mile per hour speed limit, if I were to maintain the speed limit all the way, I'd be looking at 32 miles. So I'd be looking at about a 45, 50 minute drive, somewhere in that range. But I know that we're going to have another speed change along the way to 30, and then we'll eventually go up to 55. So the speed is going to fluctuate. Based on 30, you can assume an hour's drive, but obviously it's not 30 the entire way. And of course, I'm just hoping that we don't have another problem with the train breaking apart. This might be a good opportunity as I'm traversing into the Cajon Pass right now. This would be a good opportunity to just remind you that this is the last scenario I'm doing on this route for right now. Yes, there are workshop scenarios, very few number of workshop scenarios compared to other routes, to be honest with you. But there are some workshop scenarios. I'm not doing any of those right now, even though I know RB just has a set of scenarios on Cajon Pass. I want to go ahead and explore other routes. I do have other sets of his that I actually want to look at because they might be more interesting. So I'm going to wait. I mean, Barstow is interesting, but that's another story completely. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and continue my escapades on London to Brighton, because I've already done a fair number of the scenarios on there, but I want to finish that up so I can move on and do some workshop stuff on that route. There's a lot of workshop stuff in London to Brighton. It's probably the most used route in the Steam Workshop. of all the routes. And the reason for that mainly is because it was one of the routes that was out when the workshop first launched. Maria's Pass came early into that as well, so Maria's Pass also got a lot of workshop use for that reason. So these routes that were out in 2013, 2014, they got a lot of use in the workshop. Compared to the newer ones where you're not going to find anywhere near as many. So you can still get your money's worth on these older routes, and if you can find a route on sale for like $5, and it's one of those earlier routes, pick it up. Pick it up and go look for a lot of stuff to play, and just have a fun time. Just be ready to buy a few other trains to go with some of these scenarios. Especially the NSF ones if you live in the United States. If you don't live in the United States, get something similar and learn how to use tools like TS tools in order to edit it. Really the best option I can give you there. And after I'm done with London to Brighton, I'm going to probably move into introducing this train. This is the ST40. As I mentioned before, and there's a guy in the cab, by the way. Hello! So I'm going to introduce the ST40. And the ST40 is the next model I want to look at on US railroads, only because there are so many of them around the US and even in Canada. There's some in Canada as well, I believe. Though I've also seen the ES44AC and obviously the ST60, which just recently came out in Canada as well. Over on the West Coast, you might see the AC4000 or whatever that model is from Searchlight Simulations is. But I don't know if you see that one really around this part of the country that I'm in. In any case, we do have the ST40 as a very, very common train. I know Ohio Steel 2, which I don't have yet. I am looking at picking it up. Has an ST40 and an ES44AC. Again, the older models like this one, so they're probably just skinned like this one. This train, but with the Canadian skin. And there are scenarios for that route on the Castle Rock route. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to access any of those scenarios because they're part of an old Canadian National package that is no longer sold. And the models were just bundled with Ohio Steel 2 and with the Fort Kent to Eagle Lake route. And that's where you can get those skins now. The scenarios, however, are unavailable unless someone were to recreate them from on the workshop, in which case they'd be available. And it might be for the bonus version of the route. I don't know if it'll be for the existing version of the route in that case, because they might have redone them for that version. So I'm not going to be able to show you the Canadian train on Castle Rock, unfortunately, unless DTG were to reach out to me and offer me those scenarios so that I can play the scenarios. It is just the 3 scenarios in that case I'd be looking at, not necessarily the free roam. But I don't foresee that happening, so I did not see that we're going into the 35. Whoopsie! That's a massive speeding penalty. Why do I never notice these signs when they're coming up? I never notice these signs. They're there, but I never notice them. And we're going to have to slow down anyway because we're going to have a junction. Let me, in fact, bring up the data for this. What you see is a flashing yellow over a red. So a flashing yellow, when it is over a red signal, I don't believe is in the Cajon Pass manual. I'm going to be completely honest with you on that. Or at least it's not very clear that it's a flashing one. So a flashing yellow over a red. I believe that means prepare to pass next signal not exceeding 40 miles per hour. If it was yellow over green, it would be a 50 mile per hour. If it was a... that's about it. If it was a yellow over yellow would have also been a restricted speed, which would be 15 miles per hour, I believe. A lot of these junction signals are for different speeds. So you have a 50, you have a 40, you have a 35. 35 is the red over yellow. And you have to know what all these signals mean in order to drive this in real life. So you have to train a lot on these with other engineers before you're actually allowed to drive the route on your own. So we're on a 1.7 gradient. We are in the 35 speed limit. There is a 30 coming up, so we'll keep that in mind. There's our next speed limit coming up, and it's a 45. I'm not going to really pay any attention to that because I know what's coming up. And in fact, I know I'm going to go ahead and let it drop to 30 anyway, just for the safety of getting across the signals here. So I'm going to treat that as a 30. I think I have every reason to treat that next signal as a 30. But I don't think it acts as a 30. I think you're allowed to go up to 50. But in this case, it's 35. So here's our diverging route signal. And we're going to be taking the path to the right here. Our limit is now 45, but we'll just take this at 30 just to be nice and easy. When the back of our train crosses it, we're going to go ahead and speed back up. Should be coming up soon. The signal has disappeared. So we're going to cross right about now, I believe. There's the one crossover track. And I'll go ahead and I'll start speeding up now. I might have been slightly early on that, but oh well. That, I believe, is Interstate 15 over there. Either that or that's Route 66. Based on my map, it's Interstate 15. Should be coming up soon on the Cajon Junction if we haven't already, and I'm far away from my train. I'm up here now. So you can see we're actually missing the curve over there. That is Sullivan's Curve over there. So we're not getting to see Sullivan's Curve. Let's go ahead and take a quick look from above, and you can see Sullivan's Curve all the way over there. That is indeed Interstate 15. We're now on the south track. It looks like my iPad is dying. There's a train up there, by the way. What train is that? Train 22 taking Sullivan's Curve. Have fun. That'd be a photo opportunity, wouldn't it? Getting both trains at once. Hey, look, a diner. My pad is dying, so I'm not going to try to find out what that is over there. We're not interested right now. But I think this is Interstate 15 coming across us over here, so clearly it's off an exit from the highway. Or no, this is Road 138. This is 138, not 15. 15 is the next one. Now I can see that we have an advance warning for a 30 coming up. So I need to lower my speed immediately. We are clear to proceed at 30 when we get there. And I'm coming down a little fast, so I'm going to put the throttle back on for a moment. I'm going to let the speed drop very imperceptibly at this point. Level 3 throttle, level 2 throttle should do it. Yep, that'll go down in time. And we are now under the mark we need to be under, so we can proceed. And there is the confirmation of the speed right there. 35 and 30 going forward. 35 for passenger, 30 for freight. Since freight is us, 30 it is. That rocked a little bit. I'm not sure I trust this train anymore. While I'm cruising along, I want to do some interesting research here. I want to see if there's any trains coming behind us on this path, because this will give me an answer as to what might have happened on the previous attempt to play this scenario. No, there's a train oh, that train is actually stopping at Cajon Pass. Okay. Interesting. Interesting. Nothing coming from behind. So I guess that's just where that route ends for that train. And that's all that is. Okay. Where are we on the map right now? There's where we are. You notice we're still far on the south track here. We're going to be merging up there, and the summit is right over there, Summit Track 2. So you may notice we were on a 3.0 gradient a couple times there. We're now on a 2.9, and we're actually gaining speed, which is interesting. Dropping my throttle just a little bit right now to make sure I stay under the speed limit. But I can carry on at 30. So I'm not going to take it right off. There is a note coming up, as we see here. There's 30-30 coming up. So basically, it shouldn't really say that. 30-30 means 30 for everything, not just freight, but also passenger at this point. So it should just say 30, I would imagine. But I guess they're doing a 30-30 just to be clear, because you might only look at one half of the sign. There's our green signal. We're good to continue. Again, I'm going to ease up on the throttle. We're now, if we were a passenger train, we would now be under the 30 limit like freight. So 30 for everyone along this part of the trail. That is a milepost. You can't read them from this side, so if you turn around, we'll see that it says 50-something, 58. That, by the way, is the engine, I think, the next engine behind us. Because we do have two engines at the front of the train here. Okay, that's another SD40, I believe. I think. Not 100% sure. Or maybe it is another ES44 AC. Looks like it might be, actually. As you can see, we have a 40 coming up, but we have to maintain our speed at 30 for just a little bit longer. And look what's coming up here. We have a couple bridges here. This appears to be a dirt road of some sort. And there's our advisory that the speed is now going to be going up to 40 and 30. So passengers can now start going 40 after they fully pass that sign. Coming up a little further, I'm sure their speed will increase, and we're going to get to go to 40. That made me dizzy for moments. I'm sorry if you guys got dizzy looking at that going past. There we go. Let's zoom back out. That should help. That should be mile marker 57, so we're going to look behind us and confirm. Yep, I'm right. So the next one is going to be 56. And that is where the downhill really begins. The track rejoins us from the northern track. You can see that everything is now junctioned together again. The Union Pacific track will eventually continue to the north, and it will end up here, and it will be off of our map. How did I get up that fast in speed? Wow, we got up that hill in a hurry. I didn't expect to get up the hill that fast. I thought it was going to take a little bit longer to get up to 31, so I let that one go. May know speed limits, but I don't necessarily know how well they're going to affect me. how much they're going to affect me. So we're going to make a left turn here, and wow, I'm not, good gracious. Might as well just let it go now. I'm already in the 40. What I was going to say is that we're crossing into the secure area of the track, the NSF secure area. And the downhill is going to start. I'm keeping a minimal throttle application at this point because I've already been surprised twice. Frankly, that's enough reason to keep a minimal throttle application. But when we get to the, now we're passing the 50, so when we get to the 0, or the 1.5 grading, we're going to be gaining speed quite a bit, so we're going to have to ride that brake down the hill instead of the gas. I think that was the 56. Yeah, that's the 56. So we are at the summit. These are the summit sidings. And this is where the secure area begins. If you go past the that road that just crossed, if you come into this area, you are technically trespassing at that point. So this is a secure area for about the next mile or so. Maybe a little longer. So I'm going to go ahead and speed up a little bit here, just in case the problem I had with the previous scenario might have been some kind of situation where a train coming the other way rammed into me. I don't want to take a chance on going too slow for it to be able to do that. That's an interesting little bump. I'm going to take the throttle off at this point. I'm on the downhill. I am gaining speed, so I am going to have to control my speed now. Let's just make sure I stay well under that 50, because I don't want a chance going over 50 here. There is a 55 coming up later. It will then go to a 65 and back to a 55 for some strange unknown reason. So I will increase around that time. Is okay for our speed here, so I'm just gonna feather it between 43 and 47. I believe that's a good area to feather it. Let's see what the signal up ahead says. We have to come around a corner to see it. There are no repeater signals on this route, so you have to watch for every signal that we see. Make sure that we don't cross a red somewhere by accident. Down in the 43 spot right now, so I'm releasing the brake. You notice that the HUD actually shows that the brake is releasing across the train. Once that disappears, then the brake is fully released. So back over next to the exclamation part, as soon as I get to 47, I'm going to go ahead and do the next brake application. As you can see, we do have a green signal, so we can proceed at line speed. I'm going to go ahead and tap the brake again. And you see that it says graduated self-lap limited. So now the brakes are applying. They are now fully applied at a 2% application. Now I'm going to need to check my junctions at Victorville. I need to make sure which route the game is going to route me along. I may have to change one of the switches at Victorville by the time I get there. It depends on whether they put me through the full sidings or whether I'm going to be moved off the track after the first set of sidings. That's really what it comes down to. Hey, a train's coming. Train 27. Excellent. So I'm going to go ahead and release the brakes again. I could power through the brakes, but since it's a very steep downhill, there's no reason to, since we don't have the air brakes on this, we'll just go ahead and use the regular self-lapping brake setup here. If we had the air brakes, I'd be powering through these brakes. And it would be held at 17-23%. The brakes wouldn't be that strong either. 7 is too much, so we'll bring it down to a 3 for right now. There is our next signal coming up, a little over a mile away right now. And our Lugo track 2 marker is straight ahead. I'm not giving you a lot of external cab views in this video because I'm a little paranoid about what happened on the last run of this right now. So I'm kind of a little scared to do anything right now with external views in case it does something to my frame rate. I thought of doing a save at the summit, but I decided not to because I already did a save with all the cars loaded. I don't mind doing the drive, it's just the rest of the, it's just the whole loading process gets to be long and tedious having to do it over and over. Then having to do it over and over again. Frankly, if they had us load the last 3 or 4 cars, that would have been better for a stereo perspective. So we are green all the way. Notice the sign there said 35, sorry, 55 and 50. I almost said 35 and 30, but 55 and 50. Let's check where we are on the map right now. I will chance this. There's the Lugo track 2. We're going to continue north along this track, and that'll take us past Hesperia, which is, it's around this track somewhere where I had the train break, and I don't know what happened. So yeah, like I said, I'm a little paranoid right now.
Heads up there, 19. We'll probably have to sail through the PNC.
Oh, I have the brakes coming off way too much there. I should have released them long before there. So we have the 55 coming up now. I'm going to actually increase the throttle a little bit because I wanted to get some speed back. You still got penalized for going too slow unless a train is trying to take your path. that'll do for now. Let's see what's going on behind us on our track as well. Just in case there's another train following behind us. I don't know if there is. I just want to make sure nothing's going to happen behind us here. And sure enough, it looks like we are for now clear. Nothing should be coming along here. In fact, the train that we saw earlier, number 27, seems to be stopping at Summit Track. So there you go. We're now entering at 55, and there's the 65 I was telling you about. So 55, 55. Wouldn't surprise me if the error is that the passenger freight traffic's allowed to go 65 and we're still supposed to go 55. So this might be another case where the sign has an error on it and the HUD shows a 65 that we can never reasonably reach. But either way, we can increase speed a little bit right now. I'm okay with that. I do not trust this track right now. I'm going to go ahead and save just to be safe here, so don't mind me doing that. That'll at least give us a resume point. So there's our 65 sign. Let's see what it says. Oh yeah, sure enough, 75, 65. Look at that. And that is milepost 48. So we're about 10 miles out from Victorville at this point, maybe 11 or 12, somewhere in that range. 8 for the Frost High track. Yeah, 12. I was right on the mark with 12. Continuing to be green all the way here. So I don't know why we have a 75-65. We are able to go up to 65 right now, but the 55 is bearing upon us. And there's the warning for it. 79 and 55. There you go. Passenger traffic, you get to go full speed. Everyone else, slow down. That's actually sadly hilarious. Passenger traffic is to slow down while freight speeds up. I'm going to assume that's a mistake. And that's in the other direction, not this direction, so the reverse here. There you go, 40, 50, 79 and 55. Now the reason it's 79 is because you're not legally allowed to go 80 on a route unless you have special equipment in the train. And since this route is not designed with that kind of equipment being in the train, naturally you can't go anything above 79, legally. It might be nice to find a scenario where I can take an Amtrak train across the route here. That'd be kind of nice. Unless that's the career scenario is that, because it's a 45-minute scenario. So it might be one of those. Who knows? I'll show off that career scenario at some point in the future when I introduce the F7. Now where the train broke apart earlier, there was actually a backhoe working. I actually was going to get you a nice camera view of backing up to pick up my train while looking at the backhoe working, but obviously that didn't materialize for obvious reasons. I believe this is Bear Valley Road that we are now passing under. Let's look on the map here to see where we are. Yep, the track from at Hesperia is dead ahead. And looking at the signs there, you see that we have 15-15 on the junction. That does not apply to us. I will go ahead and apply brakes, though, as the 55 does apply to us. And actually, I might have been mistaken on Bear Valley Road, because the junction, that's after the junction that we're going to be passing here. So I think we might just be passing under Ranchero Road. That or Main Street. We have the Hesperia sidings here. There's a train, 32. And there's the route going off, and that goes towards, I'm going to get the name of it here. That goes towards Cushionbury. So that's the train to Cushionbury going in that direction. Or the track rather, not the train, because there's no train there. So as we continue along here, we're going to eventually veer to the right. Let's check our alignment, by the way. We're going almost straight up at this point. So we're going to be taking a right at this point, coming up. And we're going to pass through some neighborhoods here. So you might see some houses on either side of us again. Not really over there yet, but you will see some. And we're eventually going to then take a left, and that will take us under Bear Valley Road. At that point, we're going to be coming up on the Mojave Narrows Regional Park, and that's the so-called frost marker that we have. At that point, I want to check what route we're going to be taking, and I may need to set some switches accordingly. We do have a 50 coming up, so I'm going to go ahead and just drop the brakes on a little bit more since we're close to 50. I don't need to, it's just for a safety measure. And when we get the warning signal that we're going to be pulling in the siding, I will check what road we are taking into the siding, because it will be important at that point to know what we're doing. So what is our signal ahead going to tell us? Our signal ahead is going to tell us that we are green. As you can see, there's a red below on the signal on the left. That means that they have no access on the crossover track. They can go straight ahead though on the main track. And there's a signal on the other track here as well. Obviously all red and yellow on the other one. And there's some speed warnings for the other direction. We have a 45 coming up, so you know how I just slowed down to 45? We're going to have to stay down there and go even slower. How far is Frost? 3 miles away. How many times do you have to tow through the TMT? Like, seriously. Over. Okay, let's get the speed back down because we're going to have to do it anyway. There's our warning, by the way. Did that say 30 for passenger? Really? Really? Passenger is 30. Is there? Do they stop here in Hesperia? Like, what's going on? Is there a station for them here? Didn't think that existed. The brakes have released. I'm going to put a smaller brake application on now. That'll allow us to control our speed just a wee bit better. There's a milepost. That milepost says 42. That speed, that might have been a 50 for the passenger. I'm not sure. That makes more sense than 30, that's for sure. This is the Bear Valley Road that I was speaking of earlier. And it's a busy road. Look at all the traffic up there. Bear Valley Road is a busy one. Let's release the brakes for a moment. So we're now going to be passing through Thorn. That means the Thorn siding is over there, including the one we had to reverse into the other day.
Correct, 7, 6,
we're going to weave back and forth a little bit here before we come to Frost. Eventually, when we get back to 2 tracks, the tracks will split up here. One will cross over the other. We're going to be on the one that I believe, if I'm not mistaken, we're going to go under. Oh, wait, no, I think we're going to go over. We're going to go over on this one. I stand corrected. And after we go over, we're going to eventually start passing the Frost area. We're going to have to change tracks back over to the track we need to be on to pull into the siding. So we've applied a brake application again. Let's see what our signal up here says. Something dried up there. So green all the way.
4685, line number 1. Mambo's limits 191.3 and 192.0 on both main tracks.
So now the tracks are going to probably split up momentarily here.
Red flag at 191.3.
Maybe another mile down the rail here, they're going to split up. Let's see where our Frost marker is, a mile away. So yeah, it's going to have to be very soon that they split up, because they are going to cross, and that's going to be our sign that we're coming into Frost. There's a 40 coming up, so I'm going to keep that slight brake application on. It's doing the job nicely. No reason to let that off right now. That was another mile marker. Take whatever number I said before and subtract 1. That's what it is. And there's our marker for the Frost High track.
441.
I'm just going to keep the speed going down slightly. You see the track splitting off now, so we're going to be crossing over the bridge in just a moment. Let's go ahead and take a quick look over here. We're going to see a train coming in a moment. Mile marker 39. As you can see, the marker is up there for Frost High track. Want a picture, guys? Move it over here a little bit. That should be good. There we go. And let's take this away. There's your picture. And back in the cab. And the train looked like it was trying to rock there for a second, so I guess it didn't like me coming back in the cab like that.
Foreman Dan Hernandez, 4B ahead for Amtrak 769. 32 clear, 171 out.
So I think my signal is going to show that I need to prepare to depart the main track into a siding soon. I have a feeling that's what the signal is going to say. Meanwhile, we are on the single track, so we're going to get a 45-40 coming up, which is basically what we're under right now. 40 is our speed, of course. There we go. You can see the yellow coming up there. And I'm going to prepare to slow down a little more because we're actually crossing right over into 40. I don't want to do that. I'm going to go ahead and prepare our speed down for the junction. can see our speed limit is going to be 35 coming up, so hitting the brakes not a bad idea. Let's just take a quick look before we reach the next signal, because that'll be the one that moves us off the track here. Let's see where it's putting us. It's taking us down this track, and sure enough, we have to hit this junction. There's a train that has to come to a stop to wait for us, so they're going to have a red signal. We're going to get to proceed while train 37 has to wait for us. We might have had to be here a little bit quicker, but it's obviously going to be coming across our track, so it has to stop and wait for us. Fortunately, it does. So there's no bug there. That's fantastic news. So let's check further what our next goal is. We have to get to siding 5. So when we want to get to siding 5, we have to make our way over to here. It'll take us along this blue track, and that siding that we are in, I believe, is indeed going to be siding 5. Not really saying much of anything, but there it is, all the way up there, siding 5. And then we're going to have another stop to make after we're done at siding 5. I'm coming down way too quickly. I shouldn't be slowing down that much, so I'm going to go ahead and put the throttle back on. The gradient smoothed out a little more than I expected to there. I should know that by now. The uphill is really after frost. By the way, in case you missed it, the park's over here. There's a park over there. Ah, here it is. That's a park in the area that I showed you last time we came through. So we saw that park last time. There's the water we went swimming in. Beautiful. Beautiful. Just beautiful. And we have another road here. I believe that was actually Route 66, if I remember correctly. Because the road turns and eventually goes alongside us to the left. So that's D Street going over us. Yeah, there it is. That's D Street, Route 66. 15 is coming up, so we're going to lower our speed. We want to do it by the signal. Even though the marker is after the signal, we're going to treat it as if it's before the signal, because we should be doing that. Victorville siding 5 is our correct path. It is showing on the map here, on the HUD. So we now know that we are going to indeed go to the correct location, as that is where we need to go. Look at that, there's some people over here. Very nice. So this actually is a passenger station. Very cool. That is a passenger station. If you're doing passenger rail, you can stop there. I love that. I love that. Maybe that F7 scenario I saw is actually a passenger rail scenario. I don't know the F7 yet, so I'm going to assume that it is. I love that. People sitting there waiting for their train. That is fantastic. Oh, I enjoy that. Seeing things like that, I just like to see those kind of touches. So we're going to pull into our siding right now. This was the junction I had to change right here, I believe. Actually, no, we're on the right track now. If we didn't change that junction by now, we would have had a game over. We would have crashed. So fortunately, we are on the right spot now. So I need to move ahead in Victorville siding 5. Now, we haven't received the work order yet, but we are going to see a train coming along to our side here. Not that one, that's a caboose. But we are going to see a train coming up. We're going to have to uncouple. Then we're going to move up into siding 4. And we're going to have to couple those cars in siding 4. So we're going to be moving over one siding. And that is literally right over there. So that's going to be our future instruction. Then we're going to have to take that over to another location. And then our scenario's done. I'm going to drop another save once I come to a stop at Victorville siding. I'm going to say after Victorville siding 5, because there's not too much after that. I can resume that as a pickup point. Let's check the back of our rig here. And I think this guy is going to be able to proceed shortly. So let's just follow him. He still has a red right now. I guess he's just going to stay there. Okay. Oh well. Hello, clear his signal. He can go. I'm watching him. No? No? Ah, forget it. They don't want to let him go. They don't have to let him go. He can stay there forever. See if I care. Hey, diner. What's that, diner? I don't know yet, but I can probably tell you in a moment. I want to get an answer on that for you, by the way. I really want to answer that question for you. But unfortunately, I don't seem to see anything that represents a diner in this area. So I will not be able to tell you. I do not know what that diner is. Well, that's too bad. By the way, we are fully in the sign now, so if we want to, we can go ahead and stop. But I'm just going to go ahead and pull up a bit because we have to go up anyway. And I have to go slow speed in the sign to move on anyway, so I'm just going to go ahead and carry it on. The marker just crossed over me, by the way. So the major thing for me is to make sure I don't accidentally go too far and fail the task. So I'm watching up here to see where that marker is. It's way up ahead. There's that diner again. I really want to know what that diner is. I honestly really want to know. I just have no idea. Well, what can you do? Also, back here in the front of the train, we're crossing under the I-15 in a moment. There's a nice, some nice houses here. Wouldn't you like this house? Okay, maybe not. Maybe you want this house. How about this house? No? How about this one? Oh, that's actually a nice one. I like that one. I'd live in that one. So I'm going to go ahead and casually stop here next to the highway. That seems to be a good spot to stop. So we're going to be uncoupling, well, let's get a full look at this task here. 3311, so we are going to take the engine off as well, it looks like. So let's make sure that we are taking 3311. That is not how to do it. There we go. Disconnect your locomotives from the container train. This is as far as they go. So 7632, we keep 7632. The first thing we disconnect is 400985. So we're going to go ahead and kill that. I will zip ahead a little bit. Well done in completing this stage of the task. However, there's more to do. You'll need to head up to East Victorville, where more freight is waiting for transportation. On it. Oh, I'm speeding. Wow, you have to speed fast in these guys, don't you? You have to speed fast when it's just these cars. So now I'm going to go ahead and just run very, very carefully because I really sped into that one quickly. I'm just too excited. I have more to do. I'm just so excited. Such excitement. Such excitement. By the way, we should probably check our switches while we're going here. Because if I don't check my switches, I'm going to fail. So I want to go right here. Which means I probably want to go there. I might be off the path. I'm going to slow down, stop just very quickly just to make sure. I don't want to game over myself here. Better safe than sorry. Let's just make sure exactly what it is I'm doing here. So if I am back here, I want to continue along this path right here. That will take me into siding 1. That is not where I want to go. I want to go this way, which will take me now into siding 4. That is not... No, that's siding 8. I don't want to go to siding 8. So I want to go ahead and do this one. That will take me into siding 5, which is completely wrong. You know what? I'm going to reverse. I'm going to try this again because I screwed up. Let's reverse. So I'm going to get back in front of my switch here. Once I'm in front of the switch, I will double check what I'm doing. Because I literally just passed this signal. And I probably wasn't supposed to pass that signal. Well, it was giving me permission to pass the signal, but it's not where I wanted to go. Now, fortunately, I did not get a leave path error, so I was able to continue. But sometimes when you leave the path, you actually may get a game over. So you have to be very careful and make sure you follow the right path. I'm going to go ahead and hit the brakes here again now. Let's just double check my path one more time. East Victorville siding 4 is where I want to go. That is East Victorville siding 4. So if I follow that track, it's next to this train. The train we're going to couple to is number 5, so we are going to have to eventually come to couple to that train. As a result, we are going to need a switch into there eventually, but for right now we need to switch into ours for after we come to a stop. So there's 4. And 4 is the top track. Since that's the top track, I have to get to the top track. The switch is set to go onto that track. So now I need to switch onto this track, which is this one. And now I think I'm good to go forward. So let's go forward. A little bit of a thinker this particular one is. You have to make your way around very carefully here or you're going to screw up. So now we're on the correct track. Now that we're on the correct track, I know we can get to where we need to go up here. So I lucked out. I almost made a bad mistake. I could have still moved forward. I could have backed into the siding 4 and probably been okay, but you don't want to make that kind of mistake. Just don't make the mistake to start with. We should go on the right track at this point. And indeed, there we are. We're on the right track. Let's check our path one more time because you want to be careful with this. There's our path into the siding, and as you see, that one goes next to the train we're hooking up to in siding 5. So that is indeed siding 4. Our path goes in there, and on the other end, we are set to come out and emerge onto the main track, which we're not going to do yet, but we are set to do that. So we are good for our path. Let's just carry on at this point and try not to speed, shall we? and tail through the TNT. Come on. Just don't blow yourself up. Over. Hey, truck. You're a truck driving, American Truck Driver Simulator. Yep, eat your heart out. There's our eventual charge. We're gonna speed up a little more and get to the front of the siding so we don't, so we can just go ahead and reduce our time doing the next task. Where are we on space? Oh, we're past the marker. Let's go ahead and stop right here, since we're apparently past the marker. Right here. That'll do. Thank you. And our stop will now be assessed by the experts. We have been assessed and we have completed our assessment. You must head to the front of the empty coal train waiting next to you. Well, there's two waiting next to us. Tell us. But at least it tells us in the directions. Number 5. Let's just check one more time. There's our exit. You see the blue line? That is our line. We can proceed. Jump that into action quickly, and there we go. Take it off. Put a little bit of brakes on so they don't need to go too fast. Since our exit is literally right there, we might as well just make sure we cross the line properly, and we're good. Once we cross the point, we can just go ahead and come to a stop. So I'll keep it centered on us for a moment. Since we're backing into that train, we're going to move on to our junction over on that side. And like I said, all these switches are set in our favor, which is what we want to see. So I'm going to get up onto the far track before the next merge. That should hopefully be... Well, actually, we're going to have to do it into the next merge. Then that will be far enough, I believe. So we're going to check the map here just to make sure. And yep, we're on the junction right now, so we're in good shape. We're almost across here. So I will now hit the brakes at this point. I'm now across the junction I need, so I can now go into that and get my train. You can see the nice little marker there saying go here. I love this. So I'm going to put the reverser back out. At this point, I'm going to hop on top of my train. I'm going to just go 5 because we don't have to go very far here, and I want to make sure we don't crash. Look at this. Already we're going to be right on top of our train. So I'm going to slow down a little bit immediately because that makes perfect sense. Slow down just a little more, please. You probably could get in the other engine and drive it, but I'm just going to go ahead and do it backing up. Alright, let's zoom in and watch this train couple. Now you can use the coupling view as well, but I don't like doing that. I like to show it close up like this. Because if I'm going to put it on film, might as well show you film. I'm going to show you exactly what's happening here. Perfect. Right, you're ready to go. Haul the shipment up to Oro Grande. That was quite a noise. But thankfully nothing bad happened there. We do have our whole train. And I need to put the brakes on for a moment. How have I left the path? Really? You're serious. Okay, looks like the game over has canceled itself. So supposedly I had left the path. I think my train tried to derail on me, but thankfully it didn't. That's a kind of a weird little bug there. But the game over seems to have canceled itself, so we're going to go ahead and carry on. I think what happened is I might have actually backed up a little too far while connected to the train, and it thought I left the path. So thankfully I'm able to keep going. We should make sure our junctions are all good leaving, because now I'm a little spooked. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oh, I did that just in time. I did that just in time. Oh, boy. I almost missed that switch. I did that just in time. Oh, wow. That could have been bad. That could have been very bad. Someone on the track was not doing his job of making sure I was out of here cleanly. So we have a yellow. We're going to be getting junctioned off at the next signal immediately. As you can see, we're clear for this path. So we're going to have to go a little ways at 15 before we can actually speed up, and we're not going to get to it very far because we're only 3 miles away from our destination. This is almost as good as a short shunt. Now we're probably going to be back to whatever the line speed on the line was. I'm guessing something like 45 is what our line speed would have been. 40 maybe. While I'm looking around the map, by the way, let's go back to where that other train was. I want to know if he left. Oh, there's another. Oh, that's another train in the sidings. The train that was on the track is still there. I guess he's having his lunch. Where's the back of our train? Oh, we're on the track. Fantastic. We'll be speeding up in a moment. Got 45. I knew it was somewhere in the 40 to 45 range because we have a 35 coming up, so we're not going to get up to 45 for obvious reasons. I knew the speed didn't matter because of the 35. And since we have a yellow, we know we're going to be veering off anyway, so we're going to have to go down to 15 very, very quickly as well. So yeah, we're going to go from a 35 into a 55. Again, the 55 doesn't matter. We're going to be leaving the track. I mean, we're already down one of our 3 miles here. There's the Steel Truss Bridge. We're going to be meeting Route 66 on the left side as it crosses the Mojave River Bridge. And there's the Rockview Nature Park, or whatever we called it before. I gave you the proper name before. I'm just trying to remember what it is now. But the nature park is on our left. I'll take the throttle off for now. And there's the nature park. I'm not sure what kind of view we have from down here. Can't see much. Yeah, you really can't see much. Pity. That was almost on the track, that tree. So there's our 55. We have our signs. 60 for passenger. And maybe we'll get to go a little bit up towards 55, just not very far. I'm just going to leave the throttle where it is, increase speed naturally, because we're going to have to slow down anyway. You might as well maintain a consistent speed as much as possible. Better for the freight if we don't have to come to a quick stop. So we're going to try and take it easy on the freight. I know take it easy on the freight sounds like a funny idea, but we're doing it. As you can see, we didn't speed that time. So I did my job properly for once. Here's the signal coming up that we're going to have to slow down for. And guess what? I have another signal to check. Or another switch to check, rather. Where are we ending up? Up here. Siding 4. So I need to enter siding 4, which means I need to follow that path, which is correct. This path, which is not. There we go. So our path is now going into siding 4, and we are going to be good to go at this point. And if we start entering the siding and we find out that we are not in the correct siding, we're going to have to back up and check it. So let's slow her down now. Quite a bit, because I actually didn't plan for the slowdown immediately. Technically, we can, again, go up to the siding where the 15 is. But I'm playing it real. I'm assuming that we have to do 15 by the signal. Even if the game doesn't require it. So there we go. And we're now dropping under the 15 into the 15 range. We didn't quite go down. I'm going to let it just drop imperceptibly because I'm going to assume we're not speeding at this point. Tell you what. There we go. That helped. Oh, now we're speeding again. Let's get it back down. There we go. Slight downhill here, so it was trying to keep me going faster. So again, even though the line speed is 15, I am treating it, because we had a flashing red telling us to go off, I am treating it as if we have to go 15 right now. So the 55 means absolutely nothing to us. What mile marker is this, by the way? Probably 31. Yeah. Well, I knew that because we were close to Victorville. And I noticed a 34 going in there. We're in that range. So there's the actual 15 up ahead. And you can see that the yellow is coming up on our HUD. So that means that we are going to get the correct siding at this point. East Victorville siding 5. Or no, not East Victorville. Oro Grande siding 4, I meant to say. I apologize. Oro Grande siding 4 is coming up. And there's the sign saying 15 for the siding. So now that we're on the correct junction, you have to change a lot of junctions in this. This scenario, you have to pay attention to your junctions. So if you ever play this, check your junctions before you leave if you want to. You can even refer to the points on my video where I check the junctions. You can just set them before you even get going. That way you know that you can make your entry safe. You're going to have to change them around while you're in there. But you're at least able to make your entry safe and then change the junctions as you come to a stop for the other ones. So at least you can do your final stops set up for each train, and they're good to go. So that's you want to make sure you cover those junctions very carefully. The scenarios on this route are very tricky with the junctions. And you saw that I even had trouble with one of them because I almost went down the wrong path. I don't know if I would have gotten a game over from that path, but don't take a chance. And I somehow almost ended up with a game over when I connected to my train. The game thought I left my path connecting to the train, which made absolutely no sense. Like, give us a little room here, game. Come on. So we're pulling into Oro Grande siding 4. As you can see, the siding is more than long enough for our charge here. We are getting well within our siding now, so we're going to make sure we don't go beyond the end of this siding. Let's put a little bit of brakes on so we can slow down a little. 10 is plenty. The signal ahead should not be letting us through, assuming that it is a signal. Well, theoretically it is. We won't talk about that. Bring that speed down a little bit quickly. There we go. Let's just check our mini-map just in case I do overshoot, which I shouldn't. But just in case I do, my path is set to send me back on the track, so that is the good news. I'm at least able to continue if I need to, which I shouldn't. What siding am I being pushed into? I'm being pushed into siding 1. But then I'll get a leave path or just a task not completed and goodbye. Have a good day. I am fully in here, right? Yes, I believe I am fully in here now, so I can actually go ahead and stop my train at this point. And I think once it goes slightly further, I'm going to do that. Especially because my marker says that I need to. There we go. Full service, good enough. Yeah, it's about halfway down the train, so that's good. Okay, maybe not halfway. Still somewhere in the middle, but closer to my side. So that train that we saw at the back, we're going to see... Oh, it's not even on this train. That's a caboose. So the SC4 we saw at the back of the other train, we're going to see that one next time. Meanwhile, well done. The coal cars have been delivered and will be sorted by another crew. You have completed all the tasks successfully. Excellent! Almost gave me a game over earlier. That was not fun. So there we go. This is my take 3 of this scenario, and I am done it twice now. Once with all the bad alerts that you're never going to see, and the second one was a failure because the train did something stupid you're going to see in a blooper reel. And then this one was successful, and I think it filmed correctly, so we should be okay. And I hope that you enjoyed this scenario today. Next time, as I said, when we come back to this route, we're going to be looking at all these ES40AC scenarios, and you can see that we have a weathered one, we have an unweathered one, we have another weathered one. We have, I think, a black one. No, that was the these guys. Sorry, not that one. We even have an EMD SD70 Ace. We saw the SD70, the regular SD70 on Sherman Hills. So this is a separate DLC. This has nothing to do with that SD70. We're going to see that at a later time. And it looks like a good one. 60 minutes for in the hump yard. There's like I said, 47 tracks in the hump yard in a previous scenario. Do you wonder why that's listed as 5 difficulty? That's why. You have to make your way around 47 tracks. Have fun. We're going to do that later on, though. So we'll see that later. We're going to have another one with the weathered... I might have clicked on that one already, actually. But we do have a black SD70 here as well. So that is a different model there that we're going to be able to drive around there as well. So we do have different SD70s. We're going to get to drive them all. That sharp shunt looks like it might be more of a tutorial, given that it's 15 minutes. But these are all scenarios we're going to do later on. Be prepared, another 15. So these are all later on. We're going to go ahead and do these in increasing order of time in the future. In the meantime, the next place I want... Oh, and like I said, the career scenario is over here on the career tab. That is front and back for the SC70 Ace, a 40-minute scenario to Oro Grande. And then we're going to have a spring break, which is an EMD F7. That's our only F7. And it is a passenger train. I was right when I was musing about that earlier. It is a passenger train bound for Los Angeles. We're going to be heading into San Bernardino and doing a passenger stop there and having a crew change for the last drive to Los Angeles because we can't go there. So that's what we're going to be doing in the future. But this is all in the future. What I want to do right now is I want to move back to London to Brighton, and we're going to be continuing on. And I'm not showing anything beyond number 6 is played yet because I actually have to play the other 2 before I get here. So we're going to go back to London to Brighton. And we have... You're going to see 7 and 8 played before I get to show any of these videos. These are not the right ones. What on earth? What are these? Oh, these are the A4 steam engines. These are the Flying Scotsman scenarios. I don't want those. I want the 377. We're going to have some 377 scenarios here. We have 6 more of those to play. And you notice that the top ones aren't checked. They were already played in career mode. But we're going to be going ahead and looking at the remainder of these 377 scenarios. We might eventually later get a chance to see the 421 scenarios, but I definitely want to see the 377 scenarios. We're going to finish off that collection, and once we finish off that collection, I'm going to come back to the United States. We're going to go down the fictional Castle Rock Railroad. That is a future objective, and I am looking forward to seeing some of the scenarios on Castle Rock. I don't think there are any career ones there, but I think they're all standard scenarios. Yeah, Canadian Mountain Pass. Actually, maybe there are. Hold on. Oh yeah, there are 2 career scenarios on Castle Rock, and they're EMD F7 once again. So it looks like we might introduce the F7 on Castle Rock as well. I got 2 trains to show you on Castle Rock. So I'm going to be going between Castle Rock and Cajon Pass for a little bit here to introduce those other 2 trains, and then we're going to go find another route to play. So we've got 3 routes still set in mind for my play here. I'm going to go ahead and start ripping a lot of these videos in the meantime, because I've got a lot of videos to go through. I will see you next time here for... basically for some London to Brighton is what I'm going to pick up with next, but you are going to see Castle Rock Railroad in the near future, so stay tuned for that. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and yeah, that'll help me get some more recognition and more FaceTime in front of other people, and I like having the attention. I appreciate having the attention so I can show you guys more of this game. So, I don't want to sound vain when I say that, obviously, but I like being able to show you guys some of these neat things and talk about history of some of these railroads, and this is a chance for me to do that and educate at the same time. So I love doing something like that, and I will be happy to keep doing that as long as you keep watching. So make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, and I will see you next time for London to Brighton, because that's where we're going next. And to finish that up, I'm kind of rambling now, so have a nice day, evening, or night, whatever it is for you at your part of the world. See you next time. I'm Cyclone. Bye-bye.